Alpha Bolix is the new standard in quality supplements, providing you the highest quality performance. Alpha Bolix seeks to succeed in all aspects of life. Learn, grow, challenge yourself every day. Follow our social media for sales, training videos, lifestyle tips, and product drops. All right. Welcome to the Room Podcast, where tonight we have on Joey Gomez and Dinis Paiva. Joey, welcome to the show, my friend. Fighting out of Team Link right now. Just got done training, and they set you all up here, man. Thanks for calling in tonight, brother. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Just finished training. Brain's a little scrambled. Wouldn't have it any other way. Another typical Wednesday night here at Team Link.
So who was in the house tonight helping scramble that head of yours?
JC was in the room. We had Chad Kelly up here today. He's doing some cross training with us, which is always good to get good looks. Ken Murphy. And we had some of the guys from Henzo's coming in too.
Excellent. Well, Chad Kelly, you mentioned. I just talked to him for a couple of minutes. He was just at the tournament over the weekend, right? Big jiu-jitsu tournament, right?
Only tournament.
Yep. Did you happen to go by that? Any Team Link fighters in that compete this weekend?
I'm not really sure. There may have. Guys are competing all the time at all the jiu-jitsu tournaments and some of the smokers that they're having. We're trying to get everybody experience everywhere. Depending on where they're comfortable, or we have some just straight kickboxers that want to do just a kickboxing smoker. But we have guys that just do straight jits, and they try to hit as many tournaments as they can. And then obviously we have the knuckle draggers that want to just fight people and drink beer, and we get together and beat each other up on Wednesdays.
Excellent. So you got it all covered. You got the people that are serious, the people that used to be serious, and the people that are looking to be serious down the road. As far as you, Joey, I mean, we were down there not too long ago, maybe three weeks ago, and Pat Casey was getting some work with you guys. You talked a little bit about maybe getting some jiu-jitsu tournaments in. Is that something you've done at all since you've been out of the MMA cage?
I haven't competed straight jiu-jitsu in a long time. I think I did a no-gi tournament back in 2016. No, 2013.
Jesus.
Been a long time.
That was when you started, just about when you started your pro career, right? 2013, yeah.
That tournament was in Okinawa, Japan.
Wow.
It was just like an all-island tournament. So you did one tournament before, and then the best guys from all the bases got together on this beautiful beach in outside of Camp Kinzer, and we had this awesome tournament. And it was that was the last time I competed.
Excellent. And then were you already pro in MMA, or did you turn pro after that competition? So
my professional career is kind of had a tumultuous start. So I came out of Team Quest. Originally I learned, I was exposed to MMA at a gym called Island Boxing and Fitness, which is now Champions Training Center. It's Masen Corberay's gym. Masen was fighting on the national stage with Elite XC, and then he later got signed to WEC. And he's a Muay Thai world champion, MMA world champion. He's nasty, and he's out of Savannah, Georgia. But I left after I got out of the Marine Corps the first time. I left and I moved back to California, and that's when I met up with the Team Quest crew. It was actually Fernando Gonzalez, Bellator veteran, had those awesome fights with Paul Daly and a couple of guys, some of the bigger names in Bellator, brought me on to the Team Quest pro practice as an amateur. And at the time, that wasn't really the case. Like, there weren't any amateurs training with the pros, but I was just, a little bit better and able to keep up with those guys. So I was walked onto the pro team, and then I competed. I was 19-3 as an amateur, 10 kickboxing fights, and then 12 MMA fights. And then after I beat Alessio Velasquez in Tough Enough in Las Vegas, I tried to go pro, but I had I got ready for 6 professional debuts, and all 6 of them fell through. So I was like, man, maybe that's my sign. Like, maybe I'm not supposed to be fighting. And I broke my ankle getting ready for a fight. Actually, Mehdi Baghdad actually broke my leg, getting ready for a fight. So I jumped back into the Marine Corps and got the surgery. But the catch for me getting the surgery was that I had to deploy again. So I was like, well, all right, so I'll deploy. Got my leg fixed. Jumped on a boat, went to Japan on a UDP, and then we came back, and the missus was like, we're moving to New Hampshire. And I was just like, what? What's New Hampshire?
Wait, before we go on from there, Joey, I just want to say happy Veterans Day to you. I know you served our country there. You talked about the Marine Corps. So you went back to get the surgery because, of course, they're going to take care of you there. So how long did you have to stay in the second time, or how long did you serve the second time? And did you go overseas or in that second deployment?
So I had 2 combat deployments to Iraq, and then I deployed with a UDP to Okinawa, Japan, with 5th Battalion for 514. It's an artillery unit out of Seal Beach, California, and we hooked up with 312 out in Camp Hansen, Okinawa, Japan. So on my 3rd deployment, but I was in the Marine Corps active duty, and then I got out, and I would go between. I would go to school on the GI Bill, and then in the summertime, I would jump out of the IRR into the reserve unit with 514 out of Seal Beach, and that's what I was doing. Like, as I was training full time, I was going to school as well. So. Yeah, I don't know if that really answered your question.
Yeah, no, it did. And then your wife said, "Let's get to let's go."
So I'm on deployment, and like 3 months in, so I sent her back to live with her family. I was like, go ahead, go back to New Hampshire. I know you miss your family. You need to be with them for the next 9 months, and then we'll come back to California and we'll handle it. And like 3 months into the deployment, she was like, "No, I'm not leaving. You need to come out here." And I was just like, "Well, I guess I'm moving to New Hampshire." So. It actually worked out into my favor because nobody knew who I was, and I just exploded onto the scene, and I was 2-0 fighting Joe Cushman at the time. Shout out to Joe Cushman. Cush is a man, and he was 11-4 at the time, and I was 2-0, and everybody was like, "Who's this can that's gonna fight Joe?" Who had been on the scene.
Now, when you went to New Hampshire, did you go with Team Link right away? Who'd you start going with when you moved to New Hampshire to train with?
So originally I was training out of Triumph for like the first 3 years, and things didn't work out. So I kind of branched out and started cross training with a bunch of different gyms. Myself and Walter had actually left, and we kind of just went on I don't know, I guess an MMA odyssey. We just kind of traveled around New England and got to train with a lot of people. We went down to Matt Bestead's gym. We went to Nuri's gym. We came up here to Team Link with Ed. We went down to Team Link in Ludlow. We went to Sityo Tung. We went to Rick Hahn's gym when he was teaching out of Henzo Gracie's for a little bit. Where else? You name it. We went, there was this little place in Nashville. I don't even remember the name. We trained there, and we just went everywhere, and ended up, linking up with Ed and the Team Link crew, and JC and Kenny and all those guys were, really actively competing, and we just liked the way that they train and like the open, like everybody kind of collaborates together. There's not just like a system and you have to do this. Like it's very, just kind of flows, and we all just kind of collaborate and grow off each other's. And if there's something that I see that Kenny or JC is doing that I like, I'm like, hey, break that down for me. Or if they were like, hey, I was working some clinch stuff, or when you clinched me the other day, I got stuck here. How do you negate that? It's great. It's a great atmosphere, great training atmosphere.
So we'll get back to that, your fighting career, but as far as the gym and being at Team Link, I mean, it seems like you've been there probably the longest at this point. Are you more? I would imagine you're really comfortable. The family's here. Your wife's happy. You're getting great training with some great fighters. I mean, you're older now in the game, but do you feel more relaxed and more at home in your training now that you're kind of set at Team Link?
Yeah, there's definitely a routine and a familiarity to it. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable for sure, but it's good. I love it.
Excellent. Well, let's talk a little bit more about that fighting career. You were 2-0 going against a dude that, everybody was banking was just going to take you out on there. Talk about that, and then we'll go a little bit through that your career, and then talk about what you want to do next.
Yeah, I took the fight. I was excited at the prospect of fighting for a belt, especially with an organization that had been around as long as reality fighting, and reality fighting is really fun to fight at too, because it's at Mohegan, so you get that you kind of get a little taste of what it's like to kind of be kind of make it, you know what I mean? So your fans get to come to a nice arena, you got the hotel there, you've got the little shopping area, you've got the clubs for the after party after. It's just a really fun place to fight. And yeah, I went out there. I prepared I was prepared to defend a takedown for 25 minutes. I was working with a lot of good wrestlers, just on the cage, circling off, quarter turning off the cage, a lot of lateral movement, cage awareness, measuring out the cage. I know if it's 2 gallop steps back, and then I got to cut an angle, or I'm going to hit the cage wall. So just a lot of the more intricate parts of what it means to be a fighter, and not just go in there and try to slug it out. And I think that's what his camp was kind of expecting. They didn't know anything about me. I had a couple of amateur fights on YouTube, when I was with Quest. And I mean, there's a decent amount of content out there when I was fighting amateur. But I mean, I went in there, I kept my composure. I played long, anticipating the takedown, and I ended up catching him with the right uppercut. And that kind of immediately launched me into the scene. I was starting to get talked to, I was starting to get noticed, sponsors started to come, you know what I mean? So that was kind of when it's all right, are we going to do this for real, or are we on our way out? Because I was feeling a little defeated because I couldn't find a pro fight, and like I said, it was kind of a blessing I came here because nobody knew who I was and everybody wanted to fight.
Well, I'm playing a bunch of some of your clips here that I took from your Instagram of you just knocking people out all through your pro career. Joey, your last fight was for CES when you fought Kin Moy, who had so much more experience than you when you went in against him. And that was you just kept going on a tear, your next knockout. And from there, you got your chance to get to the UFC. Now, talk about that. I mean, you come off that fight with Kin Moy with the first round knockout. You get a late notice call up to the UFC. That wasn't your plan. You were hoping to really get a training camp and really show your stuff kind of, well prepared. How did that all come together to get that shot in the UFC?
I mean, we had been talking with the UFC for a while now, and they just kept telling me, stay ready, stay ready, stay ready. And like every young man, I mean, I stayed ready, but I was also working full-time as a diesel mechanic. I had a daughter, I had a wife I was trying to provide for, I had a house. So, I was burning the candle at both ends. I used to tell people all the time, the only thing you can sacrifice is sleep. So, I mean, I'd sleep 6 hours a night, and I would wake up at 4 in the morning, train, until 7, go to work until 4, get off, grab some food, and then go to either strength and conditioning at night or boxing or, MMA. It was a grind, and I did that for years, and it paid dividends. I I got the call. So it was a Sunday. I remember this. I was Sunday and I got a phone call. I was driving to the gym in Milford to do some cardio, and Tim O'Connor was like, "Yo, how heavy are you?" I was just like, "Why?" And he was just like, "You think you can make the 135?" I was just like, "If it's for the UFC, I can." And he was just like, "It's for the UFC." I was just like, "Yes, yes." I was like, "I'll call you back in 10 minutes." I walked into the gym. I was 159 pounds, and I had to get to 135 in 19 days. So I just stopped eating.
Yeah, yeah. I'd imagine that's what a lot of fighters end up doing in short notice fights, man. When the UFC calls them, man, stop eating and let's throw the cards on the table here.
Exactly. I think I went on I think it was like a 1,200 calorie deficit diet, and I was working out 3 times a day. Just slowly watching my weight creep down. Flew my mom in so she could stay with me because my son was just born, and I was, not able to help out as much because I'm getting ready for the biggest fight of my career at the time. And she helped out a ton, and we just really dialed in my diet and learned a lot about nutrition, did a lot of reading about nutrition then. And I just kind of modeled that diet and that regime for, the next couple of fights. Obviously, it wasn't a crash diet like I had to do in 19 days, but it was like something crazy, like 23 pounds or something. I don't know, it was a lot of weight. But I got the call, and I fought Rob. Obviously, didn't go my way, but my hat's off to Rob. He's a hell of a competitor, and he's a super good guy too, which is awesome. It's always nice not to lose to somebody who's a shithead. You know what I mean?
Now, what's kind of coincidental is there? Rob was Rob in a big New England fighter back then? Like was like you two guys were from New England, and you get called up at late notice to face him. How was it like facing another New England guy? Because that's not how it really happens now. I mean, you don't really see too many New England versus New England matchups in the UFC.
Yeah, it was weird. It was definitely, you could definitely tell. I mean, we fought at the Garden. It was just, right in his backyard. So Boston was like all about Rob Font. And, you know what I mean? I had just kind of done my thing in the scene for the last couple of years. So I wasn't really a New Englander. I was kind of like the outsider kind of brought in, which was cool. I relished it. I relished that role. And, it was an amazing experience. I'll never forget walking out. It was the PA system in the Garden was so loud that when my walkout started, like when the beat dropped, it actually kind of startled me. And there's like dudes with cameras in your faces, and they're taking pictures of you. I'm like, I hope that doesn't show. I hope I don't see that later.
So, all right, so hit Rob Font. I mean, you went in there late notice. What'd you think of your performance in there? You got stopped in the second round, but all in all, going there, late notice, dropping a ton of weight, and just, the cards were stacked against you. Didn't have a real training camp for it. How'd you feel about the performance on your first stint there?
I mean, I came to fight. You know what I mean? I didn't just lay down for him. You know what I mean? I was looking to try to knock him out, and I had never, up until that point, I never really fought somebody that had moved as well as Rob did. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like a defining point in my career. I was like, all right, well, I kind of grew up in the old school MMA way. You know what I mean? Like where two dudes stand in front of each other, and whoever has a better head movement, normally comes out the victor because the other dude gets caught. But Rob was so elusive. I remember that distinctly, and I remember the UFC gloves being so hard. Like they're made. I don't know what the inside of the glove is made out of, but it's like wrestling mat. You know what I mean? But it's compact, and it's like a whack when you get hit in the face with the UFC glove. It's like it hurts. And I remember jabbing me like a couple times. I'm like, ow. And but he moved so well, and everything that I was coming up, I was throwing, I was coming up short, just by just a smidgen. You know what I mean? And it was frustrating, but you adapt and you overcome, and you freaking swing for the fences.
And the thing is, Joey, I mean, you were running through fighters, up until that point right there. What was going through your head? I mean, it was the first time you faced something like that. You're losing a fight. What was going through your head, and how'd you get through that emotionally?
You talking about in the fight or after the fight?
After the fight, I mean, like I said, you were on that. You were knocking people out for first round, and then you get to the UFC, and you fall short. What was going through your head after that?
It was. I mean, obviously it was disappointing. I didn't sign up to this to lose. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say it planted any seeds of doubt or anything. It was never about doubting my abilities as a fighter or as an athlete. It was more so like. I'm trying to think of how I can say this. It was just a matter of wanting to be able to do it full time. What's up, man? Oh, but I'm doing it here, so let me talk to you a little bit. So it was different. It was a higher level of competition, and there are not very many people on Rob's level at the time. Even like all the best guys were kind of congregating at like little pockets around the region, and so like it was really hard to train to get to that level. And I mean, Rob's doing this thing. He's about to. I keep telling people he's going to be top 5 in the world. Like his next fight. It's only a matter of time. The kid is so talented. But yeah, it just definitely showed me that there was like, all right, there's the sport's evolving. That was when I kind of became self-aware of like, all right, the sport's evolving. It's not about, who can throw the hardest shot and not get hit. Now people are like, they're using their footwork. They're switching stance. They're, being elusive with their striking instead of just standing there in the pocket and saying, who has the bigger, the bigger, better chin.
So here we are now, my man. We talked to you about 3 weeks ago. Lars had a few words with you, and it came to our surprise. You got the hunger back, and you're thinking about maybe getting back in the cage and testing your skills since the time off. What's going on with that, and how serious are you about trying to get in that cage again?
I mean, I put it out there in a public forum, so I have to be pretty serious now. You know what I mean? You can't just talk about it. You got to be about it. I'm a huge believer in that. And like I was telling Lars, like I missed the thrill of that competition. I missed that element of danger is kind of missing in my life. I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I see my kids, and I know I should be content with that, but it's just like I want more. And I just miss that thrill of competition. And so. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm chasing that. It's just I want to compete. Plus, I'm in the gym with these fools, getting them ready for fights, and I'm not going to be taking shots for free. Like these fools hit hard. No sense of getting hit that hard and not make any money for it. You know what I mean?
Excellent. Well, with everything going on now with limited shows and stuff, Joey. I mean, you're a big name. You coming back? I mean, do you think you're gonna be thrown into the fire right away? Like, what are you looking for as far as where do you think you could fight maybe early 2021 when, we kind of get out of these next 2 months? Is there, is it Bellator? Is it LFA? Like, what are you looking for as far as to get that first fight?
It's mainly about the opponent. You know what I mean? I don't know. I want a guy that's that's knocking on the door. So some of the bigger promotions, if Bellator wants to talk, I mean, I'm not opposed to talking to anybody. You know what I mean? I would like to do something here locally for one, because all the people here locally haven't been able to see me fight in a while. So that'd be nice to have my people at the fight. And then for my second fight, I'd like to see how I feel after the first one before I make any commitments. But I'm not going to get anybody that's not a killer. You know what I mean? My name is too big at this point to not fight anybody that's legit. So, and I'm not in the habit of, cam blasting either. So that's not what I'm trying to do as well or either. So, I mean, I'm thinking I'd like to fight somebody in the top 10 here in New England. You know what I mean? Maybe even, I haven't looked at the rankings, or I won't even know where to begin to start calling people out, but I want to fight somebody in the top 10, see how I feel in New England, and then maybe go, somebody on the national scene, either CES or LFA or Bellator, if they come back to Mohegan.
Well, your last fight locally was for CES, I do believe. What are you thinking as far as your outlook? You're a veteran. You see what's going on out there. What are you thinking as far as local MMA? What's your outlook on that to be able to fight locally? I mean, I know it's kind of up in the air, but what do you think in your heart when local MMA will be back, even without fans?
I mean, CES just put on a good show
Yeah.
with JC, and him and Ed and everybody were really talking up how well CES hangs out or handled themselves and made sure that, did the COVID testing, the social distancing, and, set everything up so that there was no cross-contamination or anything. So, I mean, that's definitely important, especially with today's climate. However, I don't know. I've also been talking to some of the guys around the scene, and they're saying that New Hampshire Dome might be doing something. So I'm going to keep my ear to the ground for something going out over there because that's right in my backyard.
Well, that's what we're hoping for, and that was like in the beginning. That was the state in New England that we thought was going to be the one that we're going to get most of the action, most fights. So we're waiting for something to happen there as far as Combat Zone, or maybe CES heading to New Hampshire, trying to find a venue there. I mean, the possibilities are there. Like you said, CES had that last card. It was done outside in a tent. I know there was talks about a December card. I would imagine they're trying to shuffle through, the new rules with COVID and the commissions and try to get something there. If there was a card to come in, like maybe middle, late December, would that be something that you get on? Are you waiting for the new year to get in that cage?
I'm probably going to wait for somewhere like in Q1 of 2021. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in any hurry, and that's kind of the cool thing about in my position. Like, I have the ability to kind of, I'm not saying I'm like going to handpick my opponents, but I don't have to rush anything. You know what I mean? Everybody's in a rush because they want to hurry up and get there. I've been there. Now I'm kind of just taking my time, and I'm doing it because it's what I'm passionate about. And, it doesn't have to be, I'm not doing it for the clout. I'm doing it because I want to. You know what I mean?
Excellent. Well, a couple more questions before I let you get to, the guys behind you and the kids in there. As far as the guys that you're training with, the ladies that you're training with, I mean, you've been away from the game as far as being in the cage for about 4 years, over 4 years. What have you seen as far as local MMA and what out there, like as far as these new faces, how they look into you and how's the skill set nowadays compared to maybe 4 or 5 years ago?
Everything that I was trying to implement, 4 years ago, these guys are, they're hitting it in competition now. It's really neat. Like, the switch stances, like if you're not switching stances, like you're behind the power curve now. So like just in that part, I mean, even, the jiu-jitsu MMA has evolved so much. Like you're seeing crazy submissions that are getting hit, and guys are constantly thinking of new ways, whether it's like sneaky wrist locks or, hitting flying heel hooks in the center of the cage, which was like, or, hitting knee bars now too, like standing knee bars. But everything, like I kind of talked about on the previous interview, you have to be a jack of all trades, a master of none. Like those days of being a specialist are over. You know what I mean? Because everybody can transition and just negate it so quickly. It's archaic, So to be on top of the game, you've got to be able to go anywhere in the fight. If you want to be a good striker, you've got to have good jiu-jitsu or good takedown defense. If you want to be a good wrestler, you have to have good striking and be able to take that person down and hold that person down, and good jiu-jitsu defense. So it's like you have to be good everywhere. But the biggest thing too that I see with a lot of the guys is like the cardiovascular endurance that some of these guys are putting on display is pretty cool and phenomenal. They're just athletes, you know what I mean? They're athletes.
And there's there's fighters there's trainers, there's nutritionists, there's strength and conditioning coaches that were fighters in a previous life, I want to say, that are giving back, that have learned along the way, that are making some of these younger generation fighters really excel, because you guys have been through it. And I'm sure you're passing a lot of your knowledge on to these fighters like Nick and Kerry and these younger guys that are going to be jumping in there. I mean, that knowledge right there is irreplaceable stuff. Guys like you being able to share that with them.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Being able to, I think that's the most fulfilling part about fighting for me. I've been doing it 14 years now, and I'm not going to be doing it forever. I know my time is limited to compete, which is why I'm kind of doing the last two to see how I feel and where I'm at. But I get the most gratification when I'm passing the advanced knowledge, not teaching somebody how to fight, but teaching teaching the finer details of fighting to the more advanced guys. When you throw this, they're gonna do this. So make sure you step out here and you throw this. And it's just to see it click and to see them evolve. That's super satisfying.
Excellent, my man. Well, last thing before I let you go, buddy. Your buddy there, Walter. He's got a new endeavor happening. I hear he's opening his own gym there, or his own training facility. Talk about that, and I'll let you go, man.
Yeah, it's KTA MMA. Is going to be in Nashville, New Hampshire. We just got the keys to the place. We're just laying down the mats now. We're going to do a soft opening for some of the students that we've been training with, and we're going to be doing a grand opening here.
Oh, I just lost him.
Something locally, some local commercials come out and do some stuff. But I really think, Walter's such a nasty jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's a great freaking striking coach as well, and he just brings so much positive energy that it's going to really change, Southern New Hampshire MMA. And it's just I feel so excited to be able to be a part of that and to be able to influence the scene now. You know what I mean? It's one thing to come up in it and make it to that level, but now to actually impact the community and to actually pass on all that knowledge like I was talking about, which is super gratifying. I'm just excited. It's going to be at 1 Chestnut Street in Nashville, New Hampshire, and it's KTA MMA.
Excellent, my man. Well, congratulations to both of you. Man, good things coming out of 2020, heading into 2021. Joey, last thing, shout outs, anyone you want to say thank you to, and enjoy your night, and thank you so much for giving me the time.
Oh, no, awesome. I'm super glad to be a part of this. Thank you for reaching out and letting me come on and bump my gums. Obviously, I want to give a huge shout out to Team Lake, JC, Ed, Carey, Ken, KTA, Walter, Buckets, and, my family for sticking by me for all the crazy stuff, and for everybody out there that's still following me in my career. You can follow me on at Gomez at First on Instagram and Joey Gomez on Facebook.
Excellent, my man. Well, there you go, Joey Gomez, KO King. Hoping to get back in there at 2021 and add some more KOs to his record. So Joey, enjoy the night, man. Happy Veterans Day to you and all the soldiers and all the special forces protecting our country. So Joey Gomez, thank you so much, man. You have a good night.
You too, man.
Take care. Awesome. All right. So, Dinis Paiva. I got to get Joey's stuff off there. And we're running a little late because we haven't talked to Joey before on the podcast. So we really had to talk about that. There is Dinis right there. Where is he? There he is. There he is. Dinis, let me get you up on here. We're ready to go. There's the handsome devil right there. I just got to fit you in my screen, and we're ready to go. Sweetbread in the house, buddy. Hey, I'm sorry we're running a little late. Joey had a lot to talk about. We haven't he hasn't been on the scene in some time. Dennis, you seem to know Joey pretty well as far as like you guys were talking on Instagram about being on the show together. What do you know about Joey and how did you guys ever intertwine in New England?
Yeah, man. I've been following and supporting Joey along. I know he's been a while since he's been in the cage himself, but Joey's really good people, man. Been supporting him for a lot of years, and I'm really really happy to see him back, and I'll be even happier for him to see him get his hand raised once everything's back, and he's back to doing what he does best, knocking people out.
Excellent. Well, he did talk about CES. That was his last fight locally, and he's hoping in 2021 CES keeps moving along like they did last month. Man, what's your outlook for CES? I know you're very close to the organization, fighting all your regional fights there. What are you thinking about them, and how'd you like their last show?
I thought it was unique. Obviously, it presented some challenges for them, being one of the first times them performing with the coronavirus and with the commissions and all the stuff that comes with that, right? It's not as easily orchestrated as most would think, right? That was one of the things I was really impressed with UFC while I was on Vegas for the tennis series, is how well and how strategic they were with the checkups, the swab tests every other day and everything else. So I'm thinking for CES, I'm hoping that once 2021 comes along, that things are a little more lenient for them and they're able to get some stuff going. But as far as 2021 and CES, man, I think everybody's just waiting on a date and a time, right? There's a lot of people waiting on deck, myself included. Just looking for a shot to get on the next card.
Excellent. Well, a bunch of fighters on the last card. A lot of guys close to your weight class. A lot of guys that you've cross trained with. Anyone stand out to you in that card that you were like, wow, good things for them on the horizon?
Um, Mitch Raposa just continues to keep doing what he's doing, and that kid's really destined for a lot of really good things in his life, and it really just it comes from all the hard work he's putting in. For a kid that's as young as he is, um, an old loaf like myself gets motivated by a guy that's hungry like that, right? Mitch he's a great talent. He's a good soul, and he's got a promising future. So I'm happy to see him continue to win. Really happy for Fabio to get in there and trying to showcase his hands a bit. I know he was trying to dig in for that finish, and that third round hit, and his first time going through the motions of being there for a 3 round fight, and you get to test those waters and see what that is like. We all kind of gave him a rash of crap because we wanted to see him get that finish, right? But the kid's gone through a lot outside of the cage, and being a fighter like I am, and as amount of time I've been in the sport, I know it's not easy to overcome a lot of things that we have to get through. So I was happy to see him go through all that and get a win. Continue, getting back in the winning column, right? Now he's on an actual win streak where he's got 2 wins. He's got some momentum for him, so I was happy for him. Who else, man? Nick Alley and John Gotti. I think both those guys put on a tremendous main event. I really got to tip my hat off. Obviously to Alley for doing what they had to do to stick out a win against a really tough, gritty Gotti that not a lot of people want to dance to that kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's got dynamite in both hands. And the one thing I took from Gotti was, a lot of less of men would have gave up through some of those exchanges he was getting hit with, but that kid stuck it out. He's gonna be better from it. I think nobody wants to lose. It sucks, but the way he lost, you don't get more. How do I say, it, man? There's a lot for him to learn. There's a lot for him to take away. He lost a decision. Some transitional things he could do better. but I think he's one of those guys that will really, really benefit off that loss. You're going to see Gotti come back and be 3 times the fighter he's been, so you can only imagine that's going to be like. So.
Especially, yeah, he's still young in his career. And like you said, he's going to learn from this, his first loss. And I mean, he took on a great ground game dude, and he hung in there and he didn't get finished. And like you said, it showed a lot in this kid, man. So, Dinis, man, you made it to the Contender Series. Not the best as far as lead up. I mean, it was short notice, 7 days. You're fighting a bigger dude there. Man, you made it through the fight. You had a great third round there, dude. And, Lee Gresh leading into that third round goes, Dinis, this is it, man. It's now. And you kind of put the gas on the pedal, man. What was going on in that fight? I mean, the first round you dropped him. Pretty good shot there. And then, it just seemed like his size and that 7 days notice maybe helped him in this fight, man. What are you thinking about your performance in there? As far as on that short notice against a pretty big dude in there.
Yeah, he was a big boy. He's more of the 55 because the cut was a little heavy for him. But obviously not the results we wanted. We kind of go back and forth on some of the intangibles, some of the stuff, the size, the lack of a crowd fighting out of the CES, event center for the first time in my pro career. But none of that really, what it boiled down to, Steve, is I lost the fight. I lost the fight to a guy who had a more dominant game plan that night, and he was able to stick to his game longer than I was able to figure him out and influence my game, right? I'm always looking for a finish. There's no surprise. I do a bit of counter boxing, and one of the things I feel like I could have done differently was be a little more aggressive and come forward a little bit more. But again, playing Monday morning quarterback. When I was in there, I was fighting a tall guy that was had some good striking and caught me some good shots and kept me aware and kept me honest. And by the time I was able to influence my game plan, I just kind of ran out of time. I just, it's one of those fights where I kind of just, it was, you win or you learn. So it's one of those things, but the experience was wonderful, man. I feel like I do belong. I feel like, I think my odds, with the UFC at 135 are really promising going into this next year. And it's part of my game plan. I've been pretty vocal and getting out there and dropping a little, Easter eggs, if you will. But, my plan and my intent is to get back down to bantamweight for this next fight and challenge for that CEF belt. I know Mr. Schultz is looking for a dancing partner, and, I'll be more than happy to oblige. But, I also understand what CES has invested in giving the circumstances I've dealt with before in the past with not making it to the weigh-ins and going through that struggle. There was a lot more going on than just not making weight, my personal life. Those are things that I know I've made changes on. So I'm in a very consistent, tight living pattern now, and I'm able to make a commitment and put in the work to get down to bantamweight. It was never a question whether or not if I could make, bantamweight. It was just, it wasn't a question of whether or not I could make it. It was just like what he'd done to make it. And I've done everything then. So, at 2021, man, I want to get back down to bantamweight, get a win in, and then hopefully challenge for that belt and move on to something bigger and better. Ultimate Fighters coming up. A lot of these New England bantamweights, man, we're all trying to get out there. I'm stoked, man. I'm happy for anybody in the Northeast that gets the call up and gets to show New England on the map, right? So it's whether guys I've trained with, whether guys that we've either fought or potentially fought, or anybody knows me, man. Even guys I've fought with, I'm always showing continued support. So 2021 is going to be a great year, I think, for the Northeast for a lot of the bantamweights, and I'm excited for that.
Excellent. Well, you spoke about that title there, Dinis. There's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of fighters in New England, out of New England, that are looking at that belt, man. And you talking on social media, hungry, going down to wanting to go down to 135 and challenge for that belt again. I mean, we still want you to get that call up to the UFC, of course. But if that's not going to happen in the near future, man, why not go for that belt? And man, the sky's the limit there. I mean, there's so many people hungry there. Like we had, Blaine who wants to go up. You got Mitch Raposo there. I mean, will you fight anyone for that belt? I mean, I don't think CES is going to make a difficult matchup, New England against New England. But if any name gets thrown in front of you, does it matter that belt that you're going for that belt?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess. And when you say like any name, like so. What I'm looking at is this, right? For being a guy that fights for CES and a guy from Northeast, we're at a level now where the best of the best in this little cluster should be training with one another and looking to get the best fights they can get outside of the Northeast to hop onto the next platform. So for me to sit here and say I'll fight anybody in England, anybody they throw in, yes, I mean I would fight anybody on any given time, as I've always had in my career. Do I want to go out of my way to fight a Mitch Raposo for a CS title? No, I have no interest in doing so. Do I want to go running out of my way to try to match up with the Richie Santiago, one of those guys that I cross-trained with? No, I have absolutely no interest in doing so. There are so many guys that I'm able and privileged to be able to call training partners and friends and allies and stuff that as long as we stick together, we'll all continue to get better. There's no need for any of us to cancel one another out. So the way I look at it is it's up to CES to take one of the local guys that sells the tickets, does what they do, and get a talent from afar and try to match those guys up. So you get a guy like Blaine, who's the champ at 125, and he fights out of, I don't know where he's from, Ohio or something like that, if I'm mistaken, somewhere out there. And you're able to match him up with someone like myself or a guy like Jay Perrin or Mitch Raposo, or any of these guys that are nipping at the butts for that shot. Cupcakes is another one that's up there. Another gritty fucking warrior. So all these guys are nipping at the butt to get that opportunity. Those are the guys they should look to present. But a CS says, hey, listen, we have the belts. Here's your potential opponents. Who do you choose? Ideally, the guys outside of the Northeast. But if I have no other choice, then we'll take it as they come.
Excellent. Last thing before I let you go, Dennis, I know it's getting late. It's Veterans Day. You probably had a long day training. What did you learn from that Contender Series that's going to propel you into the future as far as, what you took away from that fight that's going to help you, excel in 2021?
My biggest takeaway for me is just having more faith and more confidence in my forward pressure. Dropping that kid with the right hand in the first round and dropping him again in the third round with the left hand. At a 145 on a shorter notice, I got power in both hands, and I really got to let my hands go a little more. And I've done it before in the past, just kind of it's trying to find that trigger happy yet calculated type of mentality to get in there. And sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you. But for me, my biggest takeaway was one, knowing that I belong at that upper echelon, and two, having more confidence in my hands and more forward pressure.
Excellent. Well, Dennis, you dropped him in the first and the third round, man. I think, if he wasn't at 170, 180 pounds when he walked in that cage, you would have probably had him flat on his face in that cage there, man. So congratulations, Dennis. Everyone in New England and by far, it was proud of you that night, stepping in there. And, that third round, you really put it on it. And, your coaches said, let's do it. You listened to him. And you put on a show, man. You made us all proud, bro. And we can't wait to see what's next for you, man. So last thing, Dennis, shout outs, anyone you want to say, anything special, and I'll let you get going.
Yeah, man. No, shout out to the Northeast. Shout out to you for giving us this opportunity and taking time out of your schedule. Thank the world. Let's hope 2021 goes a little bit smoother than 2020.
Excellent. Well, yeah, definitely. It can't get any worse than this, my man. 2021's looking up. So, Dinis Sweetbread Paiva, man, thank you so much for coming on, man, and enjoy your night, man.
All right, man. Please.
Take care.
Thank you.
There you go. Dinis Sweetbread Paiva. All right, so how do Let me do this. All right, so that's that. All right, so last thing I want to say before I get going is I just want to give, everyone's probably going already. I want to give a shout out to Alpha Bullocks for keeping me strong. On Monday, I'm back. I get to go back to the gym. If you didn't know, on September 28th, I broke a bunch of bones, my clavicle, and I had to stop training as far as weight training. So I'm back Monday, and I bought all the supplies I need to get me back on track. Also, a big shout out to Canna Bio Group here for all my CBD needs. I got my bedtime drops here that are going to put me to sleep pretty soon. And this is my balm for my healing my bones and my sore muscles and all that other stuff. So thank you for my two guests tonight, Dinis Sweetbread Paiva and Joey Gomez. Thanks a lot, Curtis. Curtis, thank you. You want to come in? Curtis, why don't you come in some night and just hang out with me? Hang out with me while we podcast. You can see me pressing all these buttons and stuff like that. I had a whole bunch of cool edits that I didn't get a chance to add into Dennis's interview because we were too busy talking. So with that said, I just want to wish everyone a happy Veterans Day. There you go, all that. And that's about it. Next week, we will be back with the makers of Alpha Bullocks supplement products. We're going to be talking all about that. We're going to give some stuff away. Yes, Curtis, come on down here. I'm right in Johnston, right across from Memorial Park there, Johnston Memorial Park. So next week, Alpha Bullocks, the company, will be our guest. We will be giving away some of this product right here. Some of this Alpha Bullocks product right here. We'll be giving away maybe a shirt. Maybe a bunch of shit. With that said, thanks. Thanks for coming on and tuning in tonight. With that said, we out of here.